Chapter 27.
"A gem that turns things into gold and grants immortality," exclaimed Potter, because those who didn't know any better often found themselves amazed by everything. "It's no surprise Snape's after it. Who wouldn't want it?" Granger replied with enthusiasm, but she glanced at Draco and faltered. "Draco, I understand you don't think he's involved, but honestly, I want to assist," Draco said, his fingers brushing against his wand tucked in his pocket. "Yet I can't comprehend why none of you listened to me regarding Professor Snape." "Because it's obvious Snape is pursuing it," Potter hollered, then quickly muffled his own outburst. "No need to shout, buddy," Weasley said with empathy, giving Potter a pat on the shoulder. "Look, I've come to terms with Malfoy hanging out around Hermione. It's like a wizard car. You don't fully grasp what it is or how it operates, and you never know where it might lead you or what it might do. But at least it takes you places, and it's preferable to having no car at all." "Thanks for the colorful analogy, Ronald," Granger said, "but I believe we can foresee Draco's response to our suspicions about Professor Snape. Maybe we can agree to disagree. What we all can agree on is that the Philosopher's Stone must not fall into the wrong hands." That notion was enough to make them agree to put aside their disagreements, if not for the Snape debate recurring incessantly. During the Gryffindor versus Hufflepuff match, Draco didn't resist Granger's attempts to have him sit with her and Weasley. He justified his decision as a strategic move. It was less hassle than resisting her persistent nudging. Besides, everyone in the school had long since noticed his association with Muggleborns and Gryffindors. They found themselves seated next to Longbottom, whom Draco realized he had become fond of in a way. If Longbottom were facing danger, Draco might even help him if he had nothing more pressing to do. Social interactions were brief, however, as the match ended faster than expected, with Potter seizing the snitch in under 5 minutes. Draco must have noted this event in his diary, but forgot to check it. He did recall Severus's deep disappointment and how it led to a scuffle with Weasley in the stands. Now, Weasley was grabbing his arm exuberantly while Granger clutched his other as she shouted into his ear. Draco felt like a perplexed serpent amidst the roaring lions. Potter's catch was impressive, Draco grudgingly admitted. How magnificently Potter played that day, effortlessly circling the Quidditch pitch with the sun illuminating his victory, almost swayed Draco into absolving him of any offenses. However, that resolve faded within hours, as Potter approached him breathlessly recounting how he followed Severus into the Forbidden Forest on his broom, witnessing him intimidating Quirrell. Potter was unconvinced there was anything odd about it, just another night in the life of a Gryffindor. This adventure further confirmed to Potter's group that Severus was targeting the Philosopher's Stone, attempting to enlist Quirrell's aid. "Quirrell's the one plotting mischief," Draco stubbornly insisted, so much so that he wished he could reveal his knowledge from the future without his tongue refusing to comply at the mere thought of it. At last, he warned them that time would vindicate him, though his vague statement evaded the magical restriction. Furthermore, he added that once Severus's innocence was proven, he expected compensation beyond the simple luxury of an "I told you so." "All right, let's wager," Weasley proposed. "If we're correct, and Snape truly is after the stone, what shall we ask for, Harry?" Draco prepared for a predictable Gryffindor challenge. But when Potter faced him with resolve in his emerald eyes, Draco saw a hint of Slytherin within him. If we're correct, Draco must reveal what's genuinely written in those notebooks of his, hidden in invisible ink. Draco said, entertained by an unenforceable punishment. That would indeed be a dreadful price. But if I am proven right and Professor Snape is exonerated, then Granger must acknowledge me as the cleverest student among the first years. Granger looked rebellious enough to satisfy Draco, who then addressed Weasley. And Weasley must admit I'm funnier than him in front of the Gryffindor common room. As for Potter, Draco regarded Potter with playful malice. Potter will wear a Slytherin uniform on the term's final day. "What?" Potter protested. "Why is my punishment harsher than theirs?" "Because you're the one I wish to see donning a Slytherin attire." Why, I haven't the faintest idea, Draco said, widening his eyes theatrically to mimic their innocence, causing Weasley to chuckle at an expression Potter had grown weary of months past. Could it be because you're Harry Potter? The group soon bore witness to Potter and Weasley's prospective suffering as Granger began to fret comically about the exams still 10 weeks away. She created numerous study schedules and color-coded notes, prompting even Draco to join in laughter, and she jokingly slapped his hand with her bracelet. Oh, laugh all you want, Draco. You hardly need to study. While not entirely true, having repeated the year and possessing more experience in magic didn't grant Draco instant recall, especially for memorization subjects like history of magic. Refreshing one's memory proved to be much easier than mastering it initially, especially when it came to the practical exams, which were a breeze. Spending countless hours at the library meant Draco's notebooks were quickly filled with a combination of assignments and self-guided study. He scribbled using the invisible ink that drove his fellow Gryffindors absolutely mad. Looking to sneak a peek, Potter? Draco teased, unable to resist his instinctual choice of using Harry as his target among the trio. You're quite the little spy, aren't you? Sorry to bore you if I'm such a captivating subject. Harry's face contorted with a look of pure venom, and Draco could only wonder what scathing remark lay unspoken. Yet, all he got was an indignant silence as Hermione intervened, stepping between them with a sigh. Honestly, boys, she chided, effectively ending any chatter unrelated to their studies. Before the Easter break sign-ups, Draco composed a letter to his mother, wondering if she wanted him home for the holidays. He had gone every year except his 6th. It wasn't that he particularly desired a trip home, but he wanted the option open and hoped to hear something from his parents, more than just the howler that still echoed in his mind. Ultimately, he decided against sending it, earning a knowing glance from Severus as he etched Draco Malfoy onto Slytherin's holiday sign-up sheet in large, block letters. Professors were demanding even more homework than usual, wearing down both Harry and Ron. More often than not, they crashed Draco and Hermione's corner of the library during the break. Despite being reticent to converse with his old pureblood compatriots, Draco would have confessed that Hermione's brilliance cemented their friendship. As for Ron and Harry, he merely endured their presence for her sake, insisting that he'd call Seamus Finnegan a comrade before the likes of them. Yet they remained there, ever grumbling about assignments they'd rather escape to the outdoors. In response to Draco's scoff, Harry snapped back, reminding him that Draco was guilty of taking hour-long broomstick escapades by night. This revelation shocked Hermione, prompting her to fret about reprimands until Draco privately assured her it was all above board, sanctioned by the educators, courtesy of Severus' persuasion, purportedly to ease his anxiety. Draco left out that particular detail. I see why you always defend him, Hermione remarked, humorously judgmental. He clearly favors you. Draco shrugged with a nonchalant grin. Someone must, right? His mind drifted to Severus fondly, reminiscing how he'd been caught trying to steal Dibney. At that moment, Harry inquired about the substance, but their conversation was interrupted by Ron's sudden call. Hagrid. What brings you to the library? Given who Hagrid was, Draco would have wagered equally on the possibility that he couldn't read. Still, he tactfully kept his thoughts private. Hagrid emerged from the shelves, awkward and evasive, clutching something behind his back. He looked undeniably out of place in his moleskin coat. Just browsing, he muttered unconvincingly, as transparent as glass, and what are you up to? His suspicion only inflamed by Malfoy's presence among the renowned trio. You're not still hunting for Nicholas Flamel, are you? We discovered his identity ages ago, Ron replied, reveling in second-hand knowledge. And we know what's being guarded, the Philosopher's St. Sure. Hagrid cautioned, scanning for eavesdroppers. Don't blabber about. What's wrong with you? As much as Draco disliked Hagrid, especially after that hippogriff incident, he found himself agreeing with the giant, only for Hagrid to direct his scrutiny at him. Don't fret, Hermione reassured confidently. Draco's informed about everything. Actually, there are some questions for you, Harry interjected, about what's protecting the stone besides Fluffy. Quiet, warned Hagrid once more. Look, visit me later. I'm not saying I'll divulge anything, but don't spread it here, all right? They'll assume I've blabbed. Catch you later, then, Harry conceded. With that, Hagrid shuffled away. What was he hiding? Hermione pondered aloud. Could it relate to the stone? I'm going to check where he was snooping, Ron announced, showing some unusual initiative, and returned promptly with an armful of books, dropping them with a thud on the table. Dragons, he hissed. Hagrid's into dragons again. Check these out. Dragon species of Great Britain and Ireland, from Egg to Inferno, a Dragon Keeper's Guide. Ah, yes. Memories surfaced of Hagrid's misadventures with dragons during their first year, when he and Harry had shared in those antics. Draco had tried to alert the faculty to this reckless behavior, ending up in trouble alongside them in the Forbidden Forest, for Hogwarts had always seemed biased against Slytherins. Hermione fiddled with her bracelet's thong, smirking at Draco, who merely stuck his tongue out, too proud to admit that he'd once devoured those books as a child, not only for the sake of his name, but because young Draco found the fire-breathing creatures utterly fascinating. Hagrid always fancied having a dragon, Harry noted, recalling their initial meeting. To Draco's surprise, Hagrid and his younger self shared more in common than he would have expected. But that's illegal, Ron protested. The Warlocks Convention of 1709 outlawed dragon breeding. It's a nightmare to conceal dragons from muggles. You can't just tame them. It poses a serious danger. You won't believe the burn marks Charlie got dealing with the feral ones in Romania.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this chapter, please hit the subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated with more audiobooks. Happy listening!